Hello book lovers, I'm Kiki and welcome back to my little corner on the internet. I realized that it is high time to do another episode of my TBR Takedown Chronicles. It has been a hot second and I have been doing my sort of series takedown, and I technically also haven't done a read it or unhaul it in a while. Gotta do that soon. But for this video, for today, what I am going to be doing is I realized that somehow out of the let's say 20 English standalones that I still have on my TBR, which really isn't that much if I think about it. Might also be a little bit more than 20. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't counted, but anyway, I definitely have more series on my physical TBR, but I thought it would be fun to actually try to start tackling my standalone books, because they're a one and done deal, and I wouldn't have to worry about keeping up with them. So I then realized that I somehow managed to, out of the 10 books I have on my May TBR, 5 of them are standalones. One is German, so we're not doing it in this video, but I have 4 English standalones on my May TBR, so what better time to try to tackle those than now? So what I'm gonna attempt to be reading within the next week is Medusa's Sisters by Lauren J.A. Baer, which I really like this cover. It's really cool. Just love the Gorgons. Then I've got, I still need to take the sticker off, The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which this isn't technically the first time this has been on my monthly TBR this year, but we're gonna try to tackle it this week. Then I've got Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which is probably gonna take me just a tad longer than some of the others. There's a penguin thing in here. I mean, you gotta admit, the cloth-bound ones have beautiful covers. But that's not what we're talking about today. So I'm gonna attempt to actually read Pride and Prejudice, which I'm actually excited about. I feel like Jane Austen is one of those classics, classic authors that you just have to read. I don't know why, it felt like a must. And then I also got Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw, which I'm really excited about. Before starting this video, I read the first sentence of the prologue, and it goes, "A boy went missing the night of the storm," and I was so intrigued right away. So those are the 4 that are officially on my May TBR. But this is a rollover from April, so if I manage to also finish We Are All Birds of Uganda, that would be the absolutely most amazing thing ever. Do I think I will be able to actually read all of these in 6-ish days? No, but a girl can dream. I can dream. So I actually think I am going to start with Winterwood, just because I am so intrigued just based on that first sentence. So I'm gonna take the dust jacket off. Let me know, when you read a hardcover, do you take the dust jacket off or do you keep it on? Because I feel like I do both, just depending on the book, and I don't know what I prefer. Right now I think it's naked hardcover rather than with a dust jacket on, but I have which book? Right. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea is a really good example of it, because it has this foiling on the spine. I don't know if you guys can see that properly, But if I touch that with my bare hands, it like starts to come off. And so I do like using the dust jacket in cases like that, but please let me know. I feel like that is a huge debate, and there is not really any right or wrong answer, but people do seem to be feeling very strongly about it, so let me know. But yeah, I think I am going to be starting with Winterwood. Now, I have to admit that these will not be the only books I am trying to be reading this week, because I'm me, and I started Powerless yesterday, and that may have been a bit of a mistake given how many books I'm trying to read, but it's me, so I'm gonna try my best. Hello! So I'm in the car because I have now, I would say, about half an hour left-ish, maybe 45 minutes, until I have to go somewhere else, and honestly, there was no point in me driving back home to then drive here again and then on to it just didn't make sense. It would have literally, like, the whole time that I would have been driving would have just been what I had as a break. So I just had breakfast, which was nice. And now I thought I would update you. And yes, I randomly used a Milan pamphlet from the Castello as a bookmark, because that was the closest thing on hand when I needed it. And I thought I would give a little update. Like, I have not had the chance to read as much as I wanted to, which I always hate when that happens on the weekends, because those are like the times that are the most free to read. But that happens when you live with your family. It never ends up being what you like plan. But I would say, almost 30% through the book. And boy, I'm confused. Like, I am so invested in this because I have no idea where this is gonna go, right? Like, I have thoughts. Like, I think we might be talking about this or that, but like, every time I'm like, oh, maybe this is gonna happen, it's like the book throws a curveball. I really don't know where this is going. Like, in the blurb, it did say, like, storm, missing boys, like, the first sentence, and not everybody makes it out alive, and I'm like, okay, great, but like, how? Why? What? We've got a forest that seems to be either magical or sentient, or there seems to be something in that forest. And it's like, the story itself is so good. I am so intrigued. And now apparently a boy is... Never mind. Spoilers. Yeah, it is so confusing, but something that I absolutely love when books do it is, so in between we have these black pages. They're like sprinkled throughout the book. And basically they are pages and chapters from the spellbook of Moonlight and Forest Medicine, which is a book passed down in our main character's family. And I love seeing that, because it's like, when we first learned about the book, it was like every single witch of the family has like their own little chapter in it, and I think that is so cute. And then just things about that person's life, and a potion sort of at the end, and I love that. And like, our main character seems to think she's the only one in her family that does not have magic. I'm not so sure if that is true, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It is super interesting. It's also, it got me hooked, because for the first time in a really, really long time, I do not know where a book is going. Like, at all. I am so confused. I finished Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it like 3.5 stars. I might round it down to 3 stars on like Goodreads and stuff, because I am unsure. I think that the premise was really good. I really like the idea behind it, but I cannot tell you what genre this falls into, because it was the best way for me to describe this would be a witchy fantasy murder mystery YA. Yeah, I think that would be the easiest way to describe this. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. After a little while longer, I was reading in the car, and then I was like, okay, I think I'm starting to see where this might be going. And I definitely was correct in some of the assumptions that I had and some of the ideas and theories my brain was coming up with. Didn't completely get it beforehand, but definitely a good chunk of it I sort of like thought through beforehand. I also, and never thought I'd say this, but I think I would have preferred a not so neatly tied up ending. I'm usually always for the happy end and like everything making sense, but for this one, I feel like it could have been so much fun to have like a devastating ending, and the potential was there. I mean, I'm probably gonna be glad in the long run that this wasn't a devastating ending, but yeah. Overall, I did really, really, really like the idea of these Walker women, this family that has lived on this land since God knows when. Like, it was never actually told. Like, even they don't know how long they have been living in the area. And, like, the family is as old as the woods sort of thing. And I really, really like that. And them sort of being the only ones to be able to go into a certain part of the woods and having like this very strong connection to it. Love that. I love a good like nature witch story. And I mean, I'm a sucker for like a main character thinks she's not that special and then she's like overpowered and whatnot, because it's very clear from the start that she might think she's powerless, but she's actually not. So yeah, I think I'm gonna settle with a 3.5 star rating, because It was good. I breezed through it. I started this last night, right? So, did I start it last night? I think I did. So, like, it didn't take me that long. And I just didn't love it. I think that's where I'm at right now. And now I have to actually start the next book or continue with one of the books that I'm currently reading. So I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do and honestly see what happens, because I do not freaking know. So I thought I'd give a little update because last night I ended up picking up Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen because I couldn't decide which one to pick up. And I thought, why not do the one that I am sort of the most scared of? It's a classic. I have an interesting relationship with classics. Like, I desperately want to read them, but I'm not necessarily enjoying them that much when I do read them. And I ended up making it all the way to volume 2, which is about a third through the book. And it's actually quite good. Like, what? But yeah, so far so good. I am actually kind of enjoying myself. The most difficult part of it is the language. English is still not my first language, and I do prefer to speak English most of the time rather than German, but this is like older English, and sometimes I'm like, what did they just say? But overall, this is, like, I understand why Jane Austen is a little bit of a mother to romance almost, because, like, this has intrigue, family relationships, like, friendships. This has romance, like, enemies to lovers. Like, what? I'm loving this. It's actually so good. I really didn't think I would be, like, necessarily enjoying it that much because it is a classic. Not sure if it's gonna hit the 4 stars at one point, but it's just, I'm actually glad that this ended up being the one that I chose for my TBR. Or, well, that the TBR wheel chose for me, technically. So, yeah, I'm positively surprised so far. I have officially finished Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and I am so happy and so proud of myself. I've been wanting to become like a classics girly for such a long time. For no particular reason, really, but I feel like so many classics ended up shaping the genres we love reading today. And let me tell you, if I had been alive when this came out and I could have read it, I would have devoured this. Okay? Like, loved it. But because I am a modern world girly pop, it was a little bit difficult for me to read. Yeah, this old style of speaking and writing and, like, English, just English, was a bit difficult for me to, like, get through, I guess. But otherwise, like, the story, love. The characters, love some of them, hate some of them. Like, it was so good. I ended up giving it 3.75 stars, which I think is the highest rating I have ever given a classic so far. And I now really want to rewatch the movie. However, I have seen discourse online that the movie is a disgrace, and the BBC miniseries is the only true adaptation for Pride and Prejudice. Fight in the comments. I want to know which one I should watch. Like, I've seen the movie with, oh my god, is it Keira Knightley? No. I want to lie and then I feel really bad. Actually, let me check. Pride and Prejudice film. Ha! Keira Knightley. I am so good. Okay. Also love that Rosamund Pike. But anyway, I mean, I was basically letting the movie play as I was reading, which was, I love doing that. If there's like a movie that I've seen before that is based on a book, I love putting that on as I'm reading. I don't know, just like the vibes, you know? But yeah, 3.75 stars. I really enjoyed this. I actually probably would have given it 4.5 stars if I wouldn't have had such a hard time with the language. Which, you know, love it. And I honestly don't really know what else to say. I feel like this has been discussed so many times anyway, and there are a million reviews on Goodreads that express any thought I have so much better than I could. Honestly, if you want to pick up any classic, maybe go for a Jane Austen, especially if you're like romance. It's just, it's the blueprint, you know? So, I mean, you gotta admit, it is a thicker book. Definitely like the length of like The Scarlet Letter and Frankenstein more, although those were actually more difficult to read. Like, this is what? Almost 400 pages. But it's still good. But now the question is, what will I read next? And for my TBR, I have, for this video, I have 2 books left. I finally took off the frickin' sticker, but I've got The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett and Medusa's Sisters by Lauren J.A. Baer. And because I really don't know which one I want to read first, I have decided to flip a coin, because why not? Coin flip simulator, and I'm gonna do heads and tails. Heads or tails? I need to remember. It landed on heads, so I will be starting Medusa's Sisters, which I'm actually kind of happy about, gotta admit. I mean, I would have been happy with either, I think, but I feel like deep down I was leaning more towards this. So, can't wait to start it. Also, it's just, first of all, it is I've not seen this. It's so cool. But again, it is so floppy. I love it, especially with like bigger paperbacks. If they're not floppy, do not give them to me. I say that, but I have a couple that are very stiff, and it is a bitch to read. So let's get back into Greek mythology, because I just finished Epic. No, I just finished the Odyssey, which is basically the same thing. So now it's time to get more into Greek mythology. Yee, exciting. Let's start reading Medusa's Sisters, and I'm just gonna quickly read you the top here. There are 3 Gorgons, though you know of only one. Our youngest sister, the fair Medusa, punished by the gods, murdered by Perseus. But we were 3, and this is our story. I am so excited. have a confession to make. I started this video with every intention of finishing the books that I showed you in the beginning and maybe then some, but life just sometimes gets in the way, and it seems to be doing that a bit more frequently recently, which is fine. But I have not done so, but this video is also supposed to go up. So I am honestly going to finish the video here, well, today, and just give you a little update. I have not touched The Vanishing Half. I have not touched We Are All Birds of Uganda, even though I was like, yeah, you know what, I can, let's finish that. I have started Medusa's Sisters, and I have gotten to about 45-ish%. I don't even know. And the problem with this book is that I'm enjoying myself, okay? First off. The only thing is that the more I read it in one go, like the more chapters I read, the more obnoxious the characters get. And like, it is definitely a talent to be able to make them come across as such. And I am still enjoying myself. I love learning about the story, especially how Medusa and the Gorgons, I guess, became Gorgons because they are like described as beautiful and very human looking, no like monstrous things about them. So I like that. And I also like that each sister definitely has like her own character, and it is a bit weird because we only have Stenos and I don't know, points of views and not Medusa's, because this is like, everybody knows Medusa's story. These two aren't as well known, and if they're known as Medusa's sisters, right? Or the other Gorgons or whatnot. So I am enjoying that bit. It's just a bit lengthy and gets obnoxious, especially because like it's definitely funny because the eldest, Steno, definitely is a bit more of a like mother figure, and she feels as such. She feels responsible for them. And then Medusa, the youngest, is very full of life, very naive, very Medusa. And then the one whose name I can't pronounce is a middle child, honestly. It's like she desperately wants to be recognized and find love and whatnot. You're not gonna find it with who you're wanting to find it. You should know that. But yeah, so I am a little on the fence with this one, enjoying the story, enjoying the writing. It's beautiful. Love, because it's all so mundane, you know, because it's their life in like Athens and whatnot, and it's like, it's wonderful. But it gets obnoxious after a while. And now, the reason I haven't picked up any of the other books or haven't made more progress in this is because I ended up finishing the audiobook of How to Seal Your Own Fate by Kristen Perrin, and that is the second book in the Castle Knoll files. And I listened to the first book a while back. Don't even know why exactly I started it, but I really enjoyed the first one. The second one felt a little bit like, you know, when you're in school and you want to copy your friend's homework and they say like, sure, I'll let you, but please change something so, you know, it's not as obvious, but it's still obvious because you copied the work, right? That's a bit what this book feels like. I feel like that's the best way to describe it. Still enjoy myself most of the time. It was like a cute little audiobook I could listen to. Give it like 3 stars. So not bad, but also not particularly good. And yeah, I was thinking about DNFing it. Didn't do it just because I was like, you know what, I am going to continue listening to it now, and then I will see what happens later, and if I decide to DNF it, I will DNF it. But I was so early on in the book when I was thinking about DNFing it that I wanted to actually give it a fair chance, and then it was an audiobook. And then something really exciting is that I finished Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and I gave this 4.25 stars. I can't rave about this book the way that a lot of other people do, because my enjoyment of this book was slightly dampened by the fact that it was... There's this whole discussion with like Powerless copying Red Queen and the Hunger Games and whatnot. I cannot say anything about the Hunger Games. Red Queen, very definitely an inspiration for the book. And in the beginning, she said that as well, like she marketed it as such. But my enjoyment of this book was slightly dampened by the fact that I saw so many similarities between Powerless and Red Queen. And it was almost like... Yeah, so I think if I hadn't had Red Queen, what a sentence. I would have loved this. Like, I would have gobbled that shit up, right? There were scenes in there that I loved. Like, Kai and Payton, love them. Very interested to see what will like happen with Kit and everything. I am going to see. I hope I can read Powerful soon, which is the novella between the first and a second book. And I think that focuses a little bit on Adina and what she was doing the whole time. And then it'll be time to read, my goodness, Reckless, I think, is the second book. So that is honestly the reason why I haven't read much in the books that I said I would. It's just, this turned into a little bit of a mood read instead of just like reading and finishing my standalones. Okay, let's do a quick recap on what I read this week. I started out with Winterwood, which is one of the books that I did in fact want to try to finish, and I gave this 3.5 stars. I've already explained this rating in the video. It's just, it was good, but I didn't love it, basically. Then I actually did pick up and read Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Was so positively surprised by this, gave it 3.75 stars, and actually feel like I may have found an author of classics that I might actually be able to like really enjoy. So I'm excited to pick up another one of her books and see where it gets me. And then I picked up Medusa Sisters by Lauren J. Hebert, and I am currently still in the middle of it. And that is probably going to continue being the case for a little while. I am definitely going to have to read something else before continuing this. Not necessarily the whole way through, but just... I'm a little annoyed with the characters, and given that it's partially Medusa's story, I sort of know where this is going to go, and I'm not sure about if I'm in the right headspace to actually do that right now, you know? So, yes, I did not manage to pick up The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, nor did I manage to continue with We Are All Birds of Uganda. Gonna try to pick it up soon. Both of these. But right now, I think I need something a bit more fantasy, romantasy, romance. So instead, because these aren't the only two books that I finished, I listened to How to Seal Your Own Fate by Kristen Perrin, and I also just said that in the last clip, but I give it 3 stars, and it just was a bit copy-paste, a bit too much for my taste, but I feel like we have not heard the last from that series, so we'll see what happens. And I did finish Powerless by Lauren Roberts, which I gave 4.25 stars, and definitely more the vibe of like what I need right now. So that was a great palate cleanser. And now it's time to just continue reading my books. The next book I finish will be book 80 for me this year, which is crazy to think about, but I'm currently reading technically 3 books. We Are All Birds of Uganda, Medusa's Sisters, my goodness. And I also started my reread of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Yes, the book is upstairs. So I have started that, and I'm super excited for it, but that means that, I was gonna say, it's like I should now have less books on my TBR, but I just got 2 books, so I'm gonna show them to you. So, I picked up Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. Do I know anything about this book? No. Did I get it mainly because if I wanted an edition, I wanted it to match the ones that I have by Olivia? Yes. I have no idea what I'm going to think about this. I don't even know what it is about. And I also got the new Kira Licht, which is called Crimson Sky, Die Seelenjägerin. And this is a German book by an author that I have come to quite enjoy. And it has the most gorgeous, like, stenciled edges. Look at that. Yeah, so now with 2 books that I am reading that were on my physical TBR, and 2 books having been added, and having finished 3 books. Wow, I don't even know. Goodreads is telling me I am at 232 books on my physical TBR, which is amazing because that means now that I have actually gotten 20 books off of my physical TBR since the beginning of the year, which is crazy because I can see my bought this year shelf or gotten this year shelf, and it is full. Technically, I wasn't even allowed to buy these because they don't technically fit on the shelf properly, but I couldn't pass it up. You know what? I'm gonna take the win. I'm just going to take the win. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider giving it a thumbs up and maybe subscribing. I would love to have you here. I am honestly going to start the next video now, and I'm going to continue with reading books that are on my 25 and 2025 list, which are all series. And I'm eyeing a couple of books. Some of them are on my May TBR, which I'm super excited for. Others are not. So, catch you in the next one. Bye!